Have you ever felt like your team is just stuck? You're wrestling with spreadsheets for really complex tasks and you're wishing you had a custom app, but there's just no budget or time to hire developers. Well, today we're going to dive into how you can build those exact solutions yourself without writing a single line of code. No, I mean, really think about that for a second. That one super frustrating manual process that just eats up hours every single week. What if you could transform that into a slick, efficient app that works on your phone, your tablet, your computer? That's the incredible promise we're unpacking today. So how on earth is this even possible, right? It sounds a little bit like magic, but the answer isn't magic at all. It's a tool that's specifically designed to turn business experts, people like you, into app creators. And that tool is Microsoft Power Apps. At its heart, it's a platform that lets you build your own apps using a simple drag-and-drop interface. It's kind of like building with Legos. You're not starting from a blank page with a bunch of confusing code. You're just assembling your solution from pre-built, ready-to-go components. It's made for non-technical folks just as much as it is for seasoned developers. And getting started is surprisingly easy. You're not staring at some scary blank screen. You can kick things off with a pre-built template, or, and this is huge, you can connect directly to the data you already have in services like SharePoint, Dynamics 365, or even Salesforce. So it really meets you where your work is already happening. Okay, so that's the what. But let's be honest, the why is always way more interesting. Let's jump in and see how this stuff actually solves real-world business headaches. All right, let's imagine a scenario. An emergency hits your company. You have got to get information out to everybody, like right now. You need to know who's safe, and you need one central place for all the official news. You know what doesn't work? Chaotic email chains and group texts, that's just a recipe for confusion. And here's the solution, a dedicated crisis communication app. With a tool like this, you can push out instant alerts, share official company news, and give everyone immediate access to emergency contacts. It becomes the single source of truth right when clarity matters most. Okay, here's another classic pain point. A new person joins the team. HR has their checklist, IT has theirs, the hiring manager has another one. It's just this mess of spreadsheets and emails, and things are going to fall through the cracks. But an app can turn all that chaos into a beautifully streamlined process. Everyone, HR, IT, the manager, even the new hire, sees their assigned tasks in one single place. Nothing gets missed, and that new employee gets a smooth, professional first impression of the company. And honestly, the possibilities are just huge. I mean, think about it. Tracking inventory, getting expenses approved, managing client intake forms, running an IT help desk, handling service requests, or even doing quality audits. Pretty much any process that relies on forms, checklists, and approvals is a perfect candidate for its own Power App. So we've seen some of the incredible things you can build, but how does that whole no-code part actually work? Let's peek under the hood for a minute. It's way less intimidating than you might think. This right here is the secret sauce. If you have ever written a formula in Excel, like sum or VLOOKUP or if, you are already halfway there. Power Apps uses a really similar formula language, which makes the learning curve so much easier for millions of people who already live in Excel. Now, one of the most powerful little tools you'll use is the dot. Just think of it like a pathfinder. If you have a customer record, you use the dot to say, hey, go to this customer, then grab their email address. It's just a super simple way to tell the app exactly what piece of information you need. So let's look at this in action. Okay, this whole formula is filtering a list of Lego sets, but just focus on that one part, status.value. See, that's the dot doing its job. It's just telling the app inside this list of data, find the column named status, and then pull out its specific value. That's it. You're just pointing the way to the data you want. And you can get really creative with this stuff. For example, a standard text box doesn't automatically grow as you type more into it, which can be annoying. But you can use a clever little trick, basically piggybacking a hidden label that does expand to make the text box grow with it. It's a perfect example of how the platform's flexibility lets you solve these unique little problems. Okay, so building an app is one thing, but building a great app is something else entirely. Let's go over a few pro tips that are going to make your apps faster, more reliable, and just better. One of the biggest reasons apps feel slow is because they're doing things one by one, in a sequence. Think about making coffee. You don't boil the water, wait for it to finish, and then go get your mug and coffee grounds. No, you do all that at the same time. If tasks don't depend on each other, your app should do them at the same time too. It makes a huge difference. And here's exactly what that looks like. On the left, the app loads one bucket of data, waits for it to finish, and then starts loading the second one. But on the right, by just racking both of those tasks in a concurrent function, the app tackles them both at the exact same time. It's such a simple change, but it can literally shave seconds off your loading times. And here are a few more best practices to keep in mind. First, keep it simple. Start with the basics and only add complexity when you absolutely need it. Use variables to store information so the app isn't constantly refetching it. Be really careful with large images. They can really bloat your app. And maybe the most important one, test as you go. Build a little, test a little. It will save you so many headaches down the road, trust me. So, we've talked about what Power Apps is, what it can do, how it works, and how to build better. Let's wrap this all up and bring it home. So, what's the big takeaway here? It's that building an app is no longer locked away in some mysterious IT department. You, the person who actually understands the business problem best, can now be the one to build the solution. You can take a messy, manual process and turn it into a clean, focused app using a language that feels just like Excel. And with a few smart tricks, you can make that app perform beautifully. And that really brings us to the final question, the one for you to think about. As you go about your work tomorrow, just look around. What's that one process, that one spreadsheet, that one repetitive task that makes everyone on your team groan? Because that thing right there, that might just be the perfect candidate for your very first Power App.